Test, test. Hopefully we're good. Just getting set up here. Suppose we can just set the event live. Yeah. Let's do it. We'll go live. Okay. Everything look good? Everything sound good, more importantly? Maybe not more important, but just also importantly. Right? Let's do this. Fix the chat. Good. All right. Well, we are live. I think I just broke my crock. Twice. Sure the chart looks good. Oh, check out those arrows. Oh, yeah. Sexy arrows. Another one. Well, look at that. Huh. Are we going to do another cup? I wonder. Draw one real quick while we're waiting to start. Something like this, maybe. Ooh. It does look good. That could be a cup. Huh. I don't know. Feel like it's a cup. It's always a cup. That's the secret. It's always a cup. All right, cool. Let's see, I think I updated everything here as well. Yeah. All right, we'll get started in just a few minutes. I feel like I should play Minesweeper while we wait. Let me just check that everything's where it's supposed to be in the meantime. Yep, that's all right. That's mostly right. Yeah, it looks good. New colors, cool. Zoom in a little bit too. Let's do, is that too big? That's too big. Maybe too big, especially with me in the way. Am I too big? I'm too big. Why am I so big? Here we go. Maybe it's not, go a little smaller. There we go. Cool. Whoops. Sure the calculator shows up on screen. We're good. And I think that's it. I guess I could bring up the new earnings. Let's take a look. Let's see what the latest is. There we go. Ooh, Affirm is back here again. As always, Monday, I never recognize any of the companies. Tuesday, BMO. AT-AT. Is this like a Star Wars group? Is that what that's supposed to be a joke on? We got HDL, which is like almost HODL, but not. Tuya, I have no idea. UMA, no idea. Box, I know Box. MongoDB, I know MongoDB. I know Okta. MongoDB has been an interesting one in the past. They have some big moves. Ooh, whoa, Kohl's. We got Kohl's, that's good. Abercrombie. Smuckers, with a name like Smuckers. Five Below. That's been an interesting one too. Crowd, of course. NVIDIA. Probably the only one I need to talk about on this entire list is NVIDIA. Dollar General. Okay. These are actually some interesting ones. We've got Dick's usually has something. I'll avoid all jokes around that. Marvel is always the one that surprises me because I think it's the, studio, but it's not. Dell, Ulta, Affirm we've played. Gap, Woof. Woof is interesting. And then Baba. Oh, Baba's on a Friday. Ooh. I hate Friday options, or Friday earnings, because I don't like doing options and waiting and thinking about them all week. The one good thing is you can not do anything all week and then play them on like Thursday. Like, it's a one day, it's a daily. And that can be, on occasion, a fun way to go. Let's see. I started way too early this time, but it's a character flaw of mine. Can't help it. Cool. All right. Well, we'll go through this again, I'm sure. Well, I wonder if there's any comments on this worth looking at. Does it show my... Yeah, it does. Yeah, I don't know why Bull doesn't show up on this. I feel like they should be on the list. They're kind of big, aren't they? They should be somewhere over here, but they're not. Yeah, this guy knows what's up. Homeless coward. Huh. I don't know. I don't see anything interesting in the comments. I'll just stick with the. There we go. I'll just stick with that. Reddit is good for certain things. Comments on financial businesses and performance is not one of their strong suits. I can't believe Bull risked assignment from wherever it was, 13xx, 14x, whatever. 14. We were as low as 1381 today, and up. That is a massive swing. It's a massive swing. $1.71, by the way, on, we'll just call it 14. What was the opening? 37, 27. That is a 12% swing throughout the day on Bull. That's insane. I can't even. Of course, if you were into ONs, they were all over the place today. They're still, oh my goodness, dude. Holy cow. Casual 20-something% for ONs today. Woo! Wish I full ported them this morning, huh? Nah. Would never. My boy RCat doing okay. What did they do relative to ONs? They are in the same sector. They move very similarly. But it looks like... Wait, RCat's ahead of them? Oh, that's insane. For the month or the 5-day? How about the month? Oh, okay, not even close. That looks better. I was going to say, what is going on here? Alternate reality timeline. The 6 months even. Wow, that's insane. All right, I guess it's time to never talk about RCat again. ONS has taken over. There he is. Good to see you, YouTube Premium. Always a pleasure. Open was 40%. All right, let's look at Open. Open's so dangerous to me. I don't want to. Today it was. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize you meant today. How did I miss that? Jeez. Anyone get in here? 2 extra money in 3 days? Not bad. Wow. That's insane. Oh, that's a month. Well, wait a second. It's not that big of a... It's not that different of a story either. I mean, 60% gain in 2 days? That's wild. Is there anything interesting going on with Open, or that just happened because why not? could reach $500. Ugh, come on, dude. So market cap is 3.69 billion times 100. I don't need a calculator for that, actually. You're saying it's a $400 billion company? I don't know about that one. Seems like a stretch. What's going on, Mr. Hill? New CEO. Is that it? I didn't realize they had announced anything. No, God, especially not the Motley Fool. Come on. I don't. Oh, good. Chill. That's how you got your name? I can see it. I can see how you got your name by looking at your name here. I like it. All right. Well, I have no idea why Open is up 60% in a couple of days. That's insane. Congrats to anyone who's been holding this or bag holding it from the initial. What was the initial spike? It never even got close to that, did it? This was the initial spike. It was 321. So even if you bought at the peak, if you held those bags, you're still up, what, 60-something%? That's that's not bad. That is not bad. Yeah, 321. So that's 180, right? Something like that. Yeah, you're up 56%. Wow. Okay. Well, maybe I need to stop memeing on it so hard. Jeez, someone's up 1,000%. I don't know who it is, but somebody here. Probably the CEO, for one. Wild. Carrie Wheeler stepped down on the 15th. Okay. Interesting. That's generally not bullish, though. That's unless she was terrible and everyone knew she was terrible and was like calling for her to like resign or something, and then maybe we could look at that positively. But usually, like UNH announced that they had a new CEO lined up, and everyone's like, it went down even lower, and that's a real company, or at least we like to think it is. Maybe it's not after all. Maybe I should put Open on here. I haven't been following them lately. I did follow them. I've played them once and made like $1,000 on a swing trade, which is not recommended. It was just kind of memey and fun. So I was like, here's $1,000, and it turned into like another $1,000. You're not trading it? Yeah, that's fair. Hey, Justin, good to see you. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just doing open meme things, and Monday it could be back at 3, although it's still going up after hours, so that's nuts too, I suppose. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. All right, well, it is 8 o'clock, so we're going to get started with today's show of the Week in Review for August 22nd. Man, August is flying by. What a month it's been. This is ridiculous, that bar, but that's mostly Reddit, so I guess I can't get too excited. I mean, I can get excited. I wish hymns did that too. That'd be nice because I got a bunch of hymns. What's going on? Avelio? Or is it like Evelio? Probably not that. So anyway, let's look at some results. So this month has been good overall, as I've mentioned. This week was fine. My goal is 1%, as I always say, and we just barely, by the skin of our teeth, broke 1%. It was looking better at one point. Well, actually, this whole week was a complete cluster. It was looking very scary for a little while there. And then it looked really good, and then things kind of trailed off at the end. And the fact that it was looking really good caused me to make some changes in my plays, and we'll get into that. But one thing's for sure, I now have a crap ton of holdings. In fact, I'm up to 15 positions, 16, I guess, if you include cash, which you should include. And that's a lot. That's a lot of different positions. I don't actually like to fill this chart up fully, but here we are. Maybe it's time that I just cut a loss on Clove that is 0.23%. I don't know. These are all such like little things that I guess I don't even really need to include them, but I like to have them on just cuz. And if they happen to hit one day, they happen to hit. Great. But yeah, it's a long list. So there's a lot to look at, and it's easy to lose track. And this is probably the most even looking pinwheel I've ever had as stocks go. Usually this is a big pie slice. Reddit cash is usually, it could be, it's not usually this big. Sometimes it's bigger. Sometimes it's about the size of this Reddit slice here, but very even otherwise across all the other pie slices. And I had pizza tonight, so now I'm thinking pie. But overall, after these 2 crazy weeks, this almost felt like good to not do anything too crazy. I wanted a week of just regular option selling, nothing insane, nothing that I had to. I didn't want to overdo the dopamine hits in August. They're already too high. I thought about selling Lily X a couple of times, which would have been a huge spike. But instead I was like, nah. This is up $21,168 because I bought $50K worth of it. So, there's a lot of things that are in a good spot here. But again, I didn't want to go nuts messing around with it. Sorry, this is Lily X. It's only up 11,000. Lily's up and Lily X collectively. Maybe that was 20,000. I don't know. Whatever. It's all going up. I can't complain. So, great week. Still at the end game goal, which I don't know. That's again, I'm not sure that'll be sustained as we go through another 8 weeks. There's just a huge couple of big weeks here that make that number look really big, despite having a couple of low weeks. So we'll see how it shakes out. That's about it. I don't have any cash secured puts going into next week right now. I do have a couple of covered calls, but we'll get to that in this sheet. So thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I said it right the first time, which would have been Avelio, I think. I'm an ETF. I don't know about that one. Although we do talk about having a Theta Daddy ETF on occasion. I'm not sure we're quite there yet. Maybe when Muffin Man joins us, we'll start the ETF. All right, so we're going to start off with HIMS. We did a couple of things on HIMS, and I went into the week with a covered call, which it's amazing how you can forget about this stuff. And we had dropped so much on, I think this is Monday. I got to start being better at putting the right dates on. Let's look at the HIMS chart. Where are we on HIMS? How did I lose? There you are. So for the 5-day, it was over here somewhere. I didn't get that really bottom drop, but it was in the 42s where I bought it back, and it was fine, right? Better than 50%. That's not what I want to show. Better than 50%. So walked away with, I think it was 85%. We could do the math real quick. So bought it back for $240 divided by the original price of $14.20. So yeah, about 85%, close enough. And just we knew this was coming. We kept looking at the chart for HIMS. We'll bring that up here real quick. Do I? Oh, I do. I was like, where's HIMS? And the charts just sucked. It's just been terrible here for really this whole month of just droppage since the start of the month, and even slightly before that. You can go all the way back here, which would have been the end of July, and we dropped again after earnings, despite earnings not being terrible. And yeah, it took a long time to find some bottoming here, because I can turn the fibs back on and all that. We tested some moving averages. We tested some fibs. We broke down below some fibs, and then we found some support, and we're hopefully heading back in the right direction here. It was a rough one for us for the last month, for anyone who's been holding. And I was assigned at 55. I was like, oh, over here? Yeah, we're probably fine. We're probably in a new channel, or back in the old channel, I should say, where we were bouncing back and forth between 52 and 60. That seemed likely. And then HIMS was like, nope, we're going back to this one. And I said, okay, that sucks, but here we are. So when we were down in this range, I was like, okay, that's going to be pretty terrible, but I was able to buy back. And then I decided to sell and in the money below, well, not in the money, out of the money, but below cost basis cover call at 45. And we'll get to that trade in a second. But so yeah, I bought it back. Great. And then I somewhat regret this play and how I played it out. Basically, this morning I had an opportunity to buy this back at like 80%. And then the J-Pow speech happened and everything started going nuts. So I decided at the last minute to just buy this back while it was in any amount of profit. And unfortunately, it wasn't a huge amount. I basically bought it back at 30% profit rather than having let it expired at 44.57 would have made the full $1,000. But if you look at what happened today, we were not only cruising above 45, but like decently above it and then hanging above it. I'm like, my cost basis on these shares is 55, not including the premium. It's really like 52, whatever, something like that, after selling cover calls on it a couple of times. So I didn't really want to play the game of getting it back next week, it being above or slightly near cost basis. It would have worked out in this case. Maybe. We'll see where we open on Monday, Tuesday. But it's very possible that we just bounce back and we head back up to some of these fibs, the 0.618 maybe, which is above 45. So I just didn't want to book that loss. And there wasn't really a reason to, because just holding the shares naked if this happens, well, it'll be great. So then what I did was, talking with Average Advisor on this, I did end up selling a 48C for next week, whatever that is, somewhere over here, which will protect us above the fibs entirely that we've got laid out right now, and pretty close to my cost basis at that point between the premiums that I've gotten, where even if I had to take a loss on it, then I would just go back to normal wheeling, and I don't expect it to magically be back in the 50s. But you never know. HIMS can do crazy stuff, as shown in the past here, right? When we spike up 10, 20 bucks in a, not 20, but like 15 bucks in a couple of day trading sessions, which is always insane reasons why that happens. Hello, Peter, John, J. Peters. We got multiple Peters. Good thing we're talking about HIMS. Peter joke. Sorry, I can't help myself. Can I maybe add on one of my arrows to the BBAI chart? If I have to, I'll take a look at it. Would I add more at this level? Okay, so that's a great question. And that is topic of the day. We're going to talk repeatedly about position sizing. This is an example of me not having good position sizing. And I was pretty confident at the time, and it shows what confidence, does for you in trading. You're only as confident as, well, you can be as confident as you want. The market doesn't care how confident you are. And this position was like a 10% size. Realistically, or in hindsight, I should have entered at 5% or 3%. But for some reason, I'm like, no, we're going to sell 20 contracts at 55. And I was like, that's a decent chunk. That's like $110,000 that now is tied up. So the reason that matters is because I don't want to add another dollar to HIMS right now. That just overexposes me to what if HIMS kept dropping, right? Like what if we decided to go all the way back to, you don't want to see this, but look at the year to date. Right? I mean, we were in the 20s year to date. That's less than a year ago. That would suck ass. So I don't recommend doing it. And I don't recommend overexposing yourself in that way. So here I decided that, no, we're going to ride this out. We're going to try to play the wheel as best we can. And we're going to have some patience. Sometimes that's all you need. But in this case, because of my position sizing, I was kind of locked in. I wasn't going to augment the shares or the holding in any way unless there was a way to peel off of it, which below cost basis as far as we are, there isn't without incurring some sort of a loss. So for this exact moment, no, I'm not going to add to it I'm going to continue to try to sell CCs that are near the money at a nice delta. I think they were 0.3 delta away. And with that, I figure I could always roll to the mid-50s out to September 19th if needed for a credit, most likely, because HIMS has pretty good premiums. So that's my thought process. And if it doesn't spike up, well, then I just get paid out on the premiums that I've got right now. And that's great. It's only 65 cents, but, percent-wise, it's, what is that, 65, let's do the math, divided by 48 is 1.35%. So, that's fine. That's above my goal of 1%, and I'll be happy with that if that hits. Yeah, I did not roll it. I just cut it. I was able to cut it in time. So if we go back to the chart for the day, at this point in the 44s, it was still, you could still close it for profit, because one of the things that happens is the Bollinger Bands, right, expansion, which, let me see if I can bring that up here real quick. Robinhood Legend. I don't need you all reading my internet history and judging me on stuff. So, we're going to do that off screen and then bring it back. There we go. I'm just kidding. So if we look at like what happened throughout the day, you can kind of see this expansion right here, right? So look how tight those bands are. And then we start spiking. This is Bollinger Bands are, what the expected range is of movement that might happen based on really recent information. I couldn't tell you the formula. Average Advisor is probably better suited for that. So in my case, I just look at it as an indicator of when it's wide, people are like, I don't know what to do. When it's narrow, it's like, you're probably going to get shit premiums. That's just how it goes. So I was able to capture right around here a positive return. Also, we had all week worth of theta was gone. We're in the final day, so it's generally closer in terms of or a smaller number anyway from that decay. So that plus the volatility made it so that I could buy it back before things got out of hand, and they did get out of hand. Now, had I waited, which this would have been a really stressful couple hours, I would have been sweating this a little bit. Sweating's not the right word, but I would have been thinking about this more than I would have wanted to think about it throughout the day. And if I had waited somehow to the magical bottom here, maybe I could have got like 50%. I don't know. But again, the Bollinger Bands re-expanded, so maybe not. Maybe at that point, you're not guaranteed that the bid spread is moving that quickly, especially with the drop-off of volume here. So I think this really was the ideal place to close it out before I completely lost out and potentially risked just being assigned or having shares called away below cost basis, which would have been like an $18,000 hit. I don't really feel like doing that right now. So that's where that decision making came from. And now I feel pretty good about my next position leading into next week. I have flexibility to do things to continue to manage the position going forward, and nothing was lost. Now, I didn't make as much as I wanted, maybe, but don't forget, both trades should be considered. And collectively, I made $1,500 for the week on HIMS, which is a 1.5% return. So at the same time, as much as I wish it went slightly differently, maybe, it was still a good week for HIMS and good return. So yeah, interesting scenario though. No, I won't. Don't worry, YouTube Premium. I won't expose myself. I don't want to get banned from YouTube. That's for sure. Especially not Premium. All right, next up was ASTS. This is a fun one. We're going to look at this chart faux show because ASTS was a disaster this week, like many other stocks. So, I don't want to look at that. I want to look at the 1 month. Then we'll just zoom in to the week. All right, so ASTS. I think we were like over here, and we've been pretty stable between 45 and 55 for kind of a while, and really on the higher end, although it's been a little bearish leading into this. 48p paid me last week pretty well. And so I'm like, yeah, let's just do it again. 48 at the money. Kind of max profit scenario where for $1.50, on 48, that's what, 3%? So, yeah, I mean, 3.125% return. Yeah, I'll do that all day. And unfortunately, it dropped like a rock, like everything else. I mean, Tuesday and Wednesday was just there was a lot of crying in the Discord. Not really. It was eerily quiet in the Discord. I will say that. I was surprised at how quiet it got because here's the thing: when this happens, there's just not a whole lot to do. You kind of just go like, all right, well, let's see what happens. And it's funny because inaction was probably the best option for every option that I had. I don't know about you guys, where we finished in a real similar spot to where we left off. Now, in this case, we finished at 47.08. And what is Post? Is Post on here? I don't think Post is on here. Let me go look at that on Google. So it's the weird brown color, right? Yeah, there we go. Brownish yellow, mustard maybe. Look, we're at 47.89. So essentially, we dropped to 42. The day range was 44 to 47.50. But the 5-day range, we were as low as, we were in the 42s, pretty sure. Well, I said that last time and then we weren't. We were in the 42s for a split second, right? So not dire straits, but definitely panic inducing for some. But then we're finishing in the money. So I'm getting assigned the shares. And to me, this is ideal. Like, this is the dream. You get assigned the shares and then you open higher than the assigned price. Potentially. Right now, it's getting awfully close. And then you have, the world is your oyster. You can sell options at 50, at the money 48 and max it out. You can sell it at 55 and lower delta, hold the shares for a little bit longer if you want to play that game. I'll probably sell around 50 is my guess. I'm not sure I'll sell it at 48, but I'm okay holding these shares for a little while because ASTS has been pretty good in the last real few months, right? So I will probably get another 3%er plus play on this next week is my guess. And I'm good with that. I'm happy to sell that covered call. But the big thing to talk about was mindset on this one. So what do you do here? Now, I really did think about DCA, selling some more options on it. But the nice thing about having a bunch of your money in cash in these situations is doing nothing is actually maybe the best option because you can just keep waiting. And the thought process for me was, well, what if it goes down further? I don't want to DCA here. I could just wait longer. And you can do that. And if it does go down and you DCA yourself lower, great. Or you can just end up having a recovery. Nobody can really predict this stuff. And nobody was predicting this week, I don't think, this drop into the Fed meeting, into Jay Powell talking right here, which was apparently, the best news anyone's ever heard. SPY was up 1.5% at one point, right? So it was a big day, but I didn't sweat at all. And that was the important takeaway here was being heavy in cash as things are going awry felt good, felt secure. And I all of a sudden was not in a rush to do anything. Now, I could have tried to force things. I could have tried to DCA in. It would have paid, but it all goes back to, this number right here. I was already at my goal for the week. So why force anything? Why not just wait a little bit and see what shakes out? And in this case, it happened to resolve in best case scenario, honestly. Although maybe I could have better deployed cash with $42 CSPs on Wednesday. But nobody knew that was the bottom. So I was happy to just wait and see what happened. So I liked this play overall because nothing happened from the start of the week to the end of the week. And it just shows that this strategy works really well. if you don't stare at charts all day. Because sell your stuff and then just walk away. You made a plan, and kind of whatever happens to some degree. Like, what are you going to do differently? What can you do? There's only so many tools. You can either DCA down, you can try to buy a leveraged stock, or you can try to buy calls or sell puts, or sell more puts to DCA, or buy puts because you're worried it's going, there's all these things you could do. Turn it into a spread or whatever. Or you can just kind of do nothing and not sweat it and rely on the stock market to generally go up and to the right, which is historically what it's done. So this was an interesting one for me because I had some really good restraint, I feel. And if this happens again in the future, which it will, I would like to take the same approach of just like, yeah, chill, see what's going on. Be like Mr. Hill. Hey, Lord Mar, good to see you. Inaction is the best action. That's, you know what? Sometimes that is very true. You do whine in Discord all bright, but we love that about you, man. That's like the best part. The whining is like, it's pretty good. Sometimes it's top tier stuff going on in there. Monday. Watch nothing middle week, then come back Friday. I don't know what you're talking about. That's okay. Or overtrade and lose money like you do. Well, I hope not always, Justin. I will say a lot of people appear to be scrambling or panicking, and that's not productive. You've got to really think. A lot of times people go, what should I do? It's like, well, you need to consider that before you enter the trade, right? Like, what are you going to do if the position goes against you? We had that conversation today, actually, in the general chat with one of the supers that was asking about a position they were in and if they should sell, if they should just cut their loss. And I was like, why? Why just sell covered calls on it? That's what we do here. It's like, yeah, but not happy with my cost basis. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, you decided that you were okay with the cost basis when you got into the trade. So I know it stinks that it's not where it was, where you wanted it to be. But it doesn't necessarily, consider these things that can happen when you enter in these trades. Selling options is a great strategy, but it is a strategy that requires other thought processes alongside it, right? Like you still want to pick good entries where you can. And like I said, I don't always pick good entries. I had a shit entry on HIMS apparently. But at the same time, I know it can go against me. And in that case, my plan is to typically sell further dated or just do nothing. Right now, I got Archer shares that have $11 cost basis, and they've been uncovered for 2 weeks. Whatever, that's okay. Ideally, your money is always working for you. But at the same time, him or Archer in particular can spike up to $12. And then, I just didn't want to cover it because I was like, we can just have some patience here because I've already hit my goal for the week. So again, you got to think through those different ideas of what was your goal on the onset of the trade, and when the position changes, ideally you just continue to follow whatever your plan was versus, oh no, the market's going to zero. I need to sell everything before my money goes to zero, which is not going to happen. I don't know. Stop trading today at noon. That's good. You shouldn't trade too late on a Friday, that's for sure. Fingers type fast, slow to click, buy or sell. That is a good strategy in life. It's kind of like, when you're really pissed off at somebody and you want to write that hate mail in Outlook and you type it all out. Type it all out. Do it. Don't put the name in the to box yet. And then once you've typed it all out, save the draft. Be like, I'm going to send it later, or maybe I'll send it tomorrow. And then you wake up tomorrow, you're like, what the hell was I thinking? This is the stupidest thing ever to write this hate email. I'm going to either delete it or heavily edit it so I don't sound like a complete jackass. It's the same thing when making trades, right? You might have a unnecessarily aggressive trade, walk away, don't jump in quite yet, and cool off, cooler heads prevail. I think that's a good approach. If you stick to the original conviction and do less, the trades tend to work out more times than not. I would agree with that. I think that is a key thing where oftentimes you need to ask yourself, what changed? Besides the stock price, like what changed? Was there a catalyst? Was there big news that came out? Okay, that could change your position. Or did you change? Deep questions on a Friday night. I don't know if we want to go there yet. We haven't even broke out the mushrooms. You got to be careful with them, right? Like, it's easy to watch the bars and your emotional reaction comes out instead of what you knew was the best thing before you had the emotion. Hello, Roger. Chicken and egg? Maybe. Yeah, could be. Could be. Fair point. All right, let's get back to the trades. So overall, ASTS could have been one of my best trades of the week as we look into what it translates to next week. And that's good. Hey, Brick. You're Brick? Wait, Brick? I thought you had a different name on YouTube. Are you on someone else's account? Did you hack them? Nice. Google was my next trade. This was a simple one. I got shares called away at 190, which was fine. It was a good trade from a couple of weeks ago. I was happy with it. And I tried to get back in at 200. And it looked like for a good portion of the week that might happen. Basically, Goggle? Nope. Google. Oh, that was amazing. It brought it up. I'm in Google, though. I need Google, which is what I have. Slight difference, I know. Voting right change stuff. We were down in the 190s, but I like this whole time. I was like, yeah, I'll happily take Google at 199.87 or whatever. It didn't matter to me at all. And then like everything else, the news skyrocketed and I was like, that's not happening. So that expired for a little 1% gain on a couple contracts. So not a whole lot to talk about there. That's in like an IRA that's in Vanguard that is a pain in the ass for me to trade. So I just do real simple 1 week trades that I never look at. Great example of this is a set it and forget it account and trade. And it's been working great with Google. Google doesn't have the best premiums, but I like the stock. So it's one of those things where it may keep going up forever. I don't know. I'm just going to keep selling puts on it forever until I eventually get it because I like the stock. I feel like it's way undervalued. It's probably a $400 stock. Okay, maybe not that much. What is the market cap? Okay, maybe not $400. But well, I don't know. Maybe it is $400. At least like $250, right? So I got a long ways to go with selling puts on this until I eventually get assigned shares. And I'll happily do that all the way up, all the way down. Whatever direction we go, I'll just keep wheeling it. It's been a good one. I actually have, it's not sexy, but oddly enough, I've kind of enjoyed it because of how hands-off it feels like it is. There's no thought that goes into it at all. Show me the money. I'm not going to scream it out. I'll lose my voice. All right, next up. Did you get into CoreWeave? I know you were looking at it. Did you do it? I did it. Oh, you did 95, right? And so you either bought it back or also got assigned shares. But this was a good one. I find myself, for one, it was a 5% return on capital, which obviously now we're below the cost basis, but still, it was a 5% at the money. And $100 felt like real good support there for like 2 days. For 2 days, it felt amazing. Here. Why do I have that line? Oh, I have other lines. That's right. Where was the 100? Over here somewhere. Wait a second. What am I doing? Am I on CoreWeave? I'm on CoreWeave, right? 100. Oh, I'm in the day. What the hell? That's not what I wanted. I'm sorry. I'm a noob. All right. So it looked like at 100, we had good support here for a little bit. And a little bit being like literally 3 days. And I was like, there's no way. It's never going below 100 ever again. Because that's how stocks work. Which is funny because this is the one that I had the upside down cup. I deleted the devil's arrow. But the devil's arrow went over here. It was a big old, let's see. It did something like this. Because it was an upside down cup and handle right here. As you can you probably see it without me drawing it. But I'll just real quick. I do love drawing cups, even if they're upside down satanic cups. I don't know what else you would call this. Um, this is kind of where my head was at when I was talking about this with Showcase a month ago, and it looked really possible. And then basically it happened over here instead of over here because I don't remember what caused this spike. I remember watching it, and maybe it was like some analyst upgrades. And I was like, "This, I'm just not touching it. I refuse to touch it going back up so irrationally again." And very glad I didn't, because then you know what happened. We see it. But here's the interesting thing. As we're kind of zoomed out here a little bit, we most definitely do have a bit of a wedge forming. And I think we got an interesting set of earnings coming up, NVIDIA, that may cause a move. Now, obviously, with the shares, I'm hoping for this again. I'm debating not covering these shares, and that's risky and probably not smart, so I probably will cover them. I don't know what I'm going to cover them at. Maybe I'll cover them a little further out of the money, though, like 120, something like pretty far out, but something that they still have good premiums typically on CoreWeave. We can take a quick look at that, actually. 85, 95, and 98. Okay, so how many did you get? You bought back 85, assigned 95, 98, 200 naked. So what's your total share count on that? Like 500? Probably something like that, right? Yeah, I think a lot of people feel good about CoreWeave. So if we look out just to next week, and I have it on low strikes here. Sorry, because I was looking at bull, I think, and I wanted to look at a whole bunch of different dates. So, this isn't going to work. Let's just do from like 90 to 120. Okay, and next week 120 does not pay very well, but it does still pay. Oh, well, maybe not. Bid ask spreads are pretty far. Well, 119, yeah, because who's selling 119? Annoying people you don't want to hang out with at parties are selling 119. You go out to like the monthly. What do we look like? Yeah, I mean 1% on 120, a little over 1%. Not the best return there, but the share appreciation of 20% if assigned is pretty good. And that's something to consider. If you're actually bullish, this is a way to basically lock in a limit sell and get paid for it as it goes. That's kind of it. And if it doesn't hit, well, whatever, you still made $150 a contract, something like that. So something to think about. 800 total. All right, you're a little braver than me. I actually thought about you doubling up on this one. I ended up not, obviously, but that was a consideration for a little while there. Yeah, the NVIDIA earnings report is going to be exactly at this wedge. Like, if that wedge continues, it's going to be basically, what is NVIDIA, the 20... No, it's not Monday. It's Thursday, right? I just had it up. It's Wednesday. Okay. So, yeah, we could, I don't know, we might break out before then. Or the wedge might just kind of go like, no, this is really the wedge. You had the wedge wrong this whole time. You're going to have to remake it, and it's going to look like this. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, of course. But high potential for a breakout here. I'm excited. I kind of like being in CoreWeave right now. And I am undecided what to do. What'd you do on... Are you selling CCs next week on it? Would you sell 400, 200, 200... Did you say what you covered at? No, you didn't say the price. What'd you cover at? 100? 100 is not at the money anymore, but it's not a bad price to go with. Big volume, of course. And, I don't want the 22nd. Why are you showing me that? Yeah, $1.60 for a week. That's pretty good. That far out from where we are right now, I'd call that pretty good. But that's what I'm considering. It's either going to be like literally 100 or 120, but that might not be out till September. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I am excited that I'm holding the shares. I'm pretty happy that those got assigned, even though it's slightly below cost basis. Yeah, let me know what you covered them at. I'm curious. 8% return on shares plus 1.6 on premium. So, which one? 100? 100 will not be 8% on shares. From where we're at. Yeah. Oh, if you do it naked. Yeah, for sure. So you bought and then sold to open 95. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. So you went for closer to at the money. I think that's great. That's a good play. Yeah, I like it. Good stuff. Cool. So we'll see what happens here. I'll probably look to open either something on Monday, or I'm going to leave it uncovered for like a week and just see what shakes out. A little risky if I do that because of the NVIDIA. So undecided. Maybe I'll give it the weekend to figure out what the play ultimately is there. All right, then we get into Reddit. I think that's all I had for CoreWeave, right? So let me move all my Reddit stuff together so I can just talk about it all at once, which I should have done with hymns. You know, I'm not that organized today. I should have been more organized. So Reddit was, as always, Reddit made me money because that's what Reddit does all the time for me. $2,300. Big things was I had a 400p for 225. That was assigned or will be assigned at some point here over the weekend. And this was funny. Again, like the chart, I couldn't believe this. I love these arrows. The reason I love these arrows is I was looking at this today. I was looking at the chart. I'm like, look how the chart dodged touching my arrows. It went around I haven't changed these arrows, by the way, since they were originally drawn. It went around them and then dropped below them. Like, okay, I think it's just messing with me, honestly. But today, we can look at the 1 day. All right, 1 day seems crazy. Why would you ever want to look at it like that? If we look at the day, you know, we were as high as 220. What? We hit 230 today? I did not know that. I thought we hit like 227. Oh, I guess we were pretty close. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I thought we were at like 227, 228 at one point. I guess we hit 230. Holy cow. Incredible. So I was like, oh, well, there goes getting my shares back that I genuinely want. So getting assigned at 225 here, I'm happy with. And this is how you got to look at it. If you pick a price and the stock is dancing around your price routinely, you picked a pretty good price. It doesn't matter that it's at 218 and now I'm underwater. Like, if you bought the stock at that price, like, it would have happened anyway. It doesn't matter. Any stock you buy does this. So, but selling the option, getting paid $3 a share or $300 per contract's pretty nice. And I think that's what I did for that one, right? 322. Yeah. So happy to own these. I'll be wheeling these for sure next week. Hopefully closer to 230-ish. And then I also sold a CC at 250 on some another group that I have in a taxable account. Originally, I tried to sell this at 275 and got almost the same price because we were still so high at the start of the week. If we go to the 5 days, I think we were high at the start of the week. Up in the 240s range, right? I do not want 1 minute. That's too much. Come on now. All right, 1 hour, 2 hours. 2 hours? Do 2 hours. Oh, I did 1 minute. What? There we go. So yeah, it was pretty high here for a bit, and unfortunately, I missed it. It started to drop too quickly, and then I decided, I'm like, you know what? The theory I had here was, and I think Average Advisor had the same one. We were going to test the fib at 250 up here, and we did. Oh, the fibs have changed. Interesting. What did I do? Well, anyway, there was a fib. The 1618 was $250, like exactly. It was right here. And we touched it and rejected. I was pretty certain that after this run we had from the last earnings, there was no way we were going above 250 in the 1618. And sure enough, we dropped. So I became very comfortable selling potentially a taxable event at 250 if shares were called away. And it never happened. So very happy with that trade. Low delta. Could have gotten more aggressive, but didn't want to. And again, it fit the profile of what I was looking to do this week. And those shares made not even a percent, slight like 0.75%. Right here. But yeah, it was fine. Might as well farm a little free cash on it, was my perspective, at very low delta, and that worked out pretty well. All right, I got something to catch up on. If CoreWeave starts to rip, you'll roll up. Yeah, dude, the arrows always work. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean they're dumb? They work every time. Look at the 1D chart. Fibs are based on the most recent price. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Learn something new every day. Well, anyway, when fibs were up here, that's what happened. So I also sold one other contract for $210 for next week at $1,000. Just two contracts, $525 each. And then I think this was today I sold it. And it was today, like an hour or two later, that I looked. I'm like, wait, what? The price is what? I could have bought this at like $215. I was a little slow on the uptake. I'm like, wait, $215? That's not 50%, because my brain wasn't working. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, it's better than 50%. And I got it at $235, basically like a market sell at that point. So 60%-ish, whatever that was, on a few hours trade. This is a great example of why you buy to close early. I intend to probably sell this exact option on Monday if we open down or around where we are. So 217, 218 after close, whatever. If we open, or 217 right now after hour, if we open at like 215, that 210 will probably sell for about the same price. I think that's about when I sold it originally, was in the 215 range. Obviously, theta will play a little bit of a role in that from today to Monday, but there's a good chance that I just sell it again. And I would love to average down in that way. So by buying it back, I made an extra $500 potentially that just didn't exist otherwise. And that's the beauty of, because stocks don't only go up or down, you can do that type of stuff with selling options. I love it. I love swinging them like that. Yeah, man, that 210 for 500 was amazing. So that was Reddit this week. $2,300 on, I don't know, not that much money, that's for sure. Bull. Oh, Bull. I love you, Bull. This was good in so many ways. Oh, and this one has arrows too. Bull and cups and arrows everywhere. There were multiple. This was also a cup I drew and an arrow that didn't happen. I did delete that one, full disclosure. But this one happened pretty on point. like the others. They were all doing the same thing for whatever reason. And I started drawing this today of, are we having another little cuppy cup? I don't know. Looks like maybe. A little cupper. And I'm thinking we are going to retest this 16 level again as we look at this. Look at 1, 2, 3. Are we going to do it again 4 times? Is this going to be the time we break through? Maybe, because we have earnings next week, which I don't know why it doesn't show up on the chart, but I think it's the 28th. I'm pretty sure that's what everything is saying. And so I sold the 15.5 put here. We were at 16 and I sold this thing for 75 cents. It looked amazing. It was amazing. And during the week, though, we dropped as low as under 14. 1380 was the low, right? 1381, whatever. So what do you do? Well, in my case, it was, again, like a big load of nothing. It wasn't that far off what my cost basis would be, 1425. 1475. Actually, it was pretty far off. But at the same point, I just was convinced Bull was going to come back. Because it keeps doing this. It keeps dropping and bouncing and all over the place. So at one point, I could have bought it back today. And I'm like, no, I want the shares. I want them. So I let fate have its way with me again, and talk about another chart that bounces back and forth in the money and out of the money. Bull did it. It peaked at 1552. So it did just barely touch. And now I have 3,000 shares of Bull at basically the assignment price after hours, 1544. Again, the dream. I'm so excited to sell options on this next week. And again, the question is, do I just wait a little bit? Do we maybe have a bull run? It's terrible. Into the 16s. And then sell like an at the money 16. And it's earnings week. So the options are even crazier for bull. Let's bring up bull. The chain as a close, anyway, for next week, I don't care about this week. Come on. Nobody cares about this week. Is for 15.5. Look at that. 75 cents again. Again. And 16 bucks, 60 cents. That's amazing. That's going to give you a almost 4% return on your money. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. The 15.5, I don't know. Maybe the 15.5 might be too juicy to say no to. 5% return. I don't know. Because you're going to get even better than that, I think. Especially as we get into next week. I don't know. Maybe this will be the best you get. But, yeah, I'm super excited to sell. I will cover these shares. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'll leave like 1,000 uncovered in case we do have like an epic spike up to 20. Which I don't think we'll hit 20. But I do think 18 is in the running again. We did hit that already post the last earnings. Over here, way post the last earnings. So there's no reason we couldn't do that again. Especially as we're cupping it up again. $15.5 is just was somehow the perfect number this week. It was also the perfect number because it was such a good return. 75 cents on 15.5. Again, 5%, right? Or almost. Not quite. Pretty close. Or you could do your leverage cover with Bull G. Okay, that's a great point. Here's the problem with Bull G. It costs the same amount. Now, I guess it still does double, right? Well, hold on a second. Yeah, it was 14%. Okay, it was double. I don't know, man. I don't know why it's the same price already. Like, they need to split it twice. Or split it into 4. I guess you don't have to do it twice. You can just do it once into 4. Like, why would you do this? I guess it doesn't matter. I guess the price doesn't matter. Is the price doesn't matter because you only care about the percent gains. But the price does matter when the stock is already expensive, like Lilly or whatever, because you can't play contracts on it. But this you can. It's the same. So I don't know. Okay. I will think about that. I will actually think about this, believe it or not, because I do have to remember the price doesn't matter. It's just in my head. I'm so used to the 2X being so much cheaper than the regular. So, worth considering. I will definitely think about that. Maybe I'll cover and buy like 10K, something like that of Bulge. I guess it's pronounced Bulge, right? Oh, what a terrible name. Anyway, very happy with the result on this as well. It's up there with ASTS. It's just like a fantastic result. And then, we get to my favorite one of the day. This is story time. So last night, I had a dream. It was not, culturally relevant or anything like that. And no, it was not a wet dream. It was a regular dream. It was a good dream though. And in the dream, there was an event coming up. I think it was the J-Pow speech. I'm pretty sure it was like the J-Pow speech. And I accidentally full ported into Robin, which I don't think you can accidentally do that. I mean, I guess you could maybe somehow if you were having a seizure, but otherwise I don't see how that happens. And I realized the mistake I made, and in my dream, 5 minutes later, the speech happened, and it went up like 50%. And I made $450,000 in 5 minutes accidentally, and I sold into it. So I decided this morning, I was like, well, shit. Who am I to say these things don't exist in the world? Fortune cookies exist, right? They're never right. Their lucky numbers are never true. But my dreams, maybe I'm clairvoyant. There's only one way to find out if you're clairvoyant. You got to act on it, right? Otherwise, you're just like, I don't know, maybe. I needed to know. So we looked at Robin first thing in the morning, and what happened? Well, I bought it at $60 at this drop right here. I think I got it at, maybe it was 61. Hold on a second. I have the exact price. 61.30. Okay. I bought it at 61.30. So it was right here. It was before this drop. And I got, Long had bought it. I think he's posted about it by now publicly. He had bought a position at like 66. And generally I am bullish on Hood. And I was like, this seems safe to buy it at 60. Kind of wish I bought it earlier in the week at 55 or 6 or whatever I saw. And I totally chickened out on that. But I didn't have the dream yet, obviously. So I bought it here. And I sold it like 5 minutes into the speech at 65, not even 66. It was basically 65, 55, I think, right? And made $2,000 on 30K, 7% return in what? I think it was 10 minutes. So moral of the story, I'm clairvoyant. Perfect. Don't take financial advice from me, but this is true. There was no muffin in the dream, unfortunately. I can't believe, normally there's a cameo, like in the background on a table, there's like a blueberry muffin. I'm like, it's Muffin Man showing up. You vibe invest a lot. Have you done any trades off a dream before? If I full ported, I would have made a lot. If I full ported and like maxed that trade somehow, I would have made, I don't know, like 100K or something. It's actually insane now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think I did the math. Because it was, it peaked at 69, because that's a funny number. So I noticed that 69.59. So let's just say I sold it. I bought it at sold it at 69 minus the 61.30. I bought it at 7.7 divided by 61.3. It's a 12.5% gain on. It's $125,000. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Is it? I don't know. Whatever, 12, you can do the math. It was a lot of money. That would have been ridiculous. And thankfully I didn't, because that would have been bad. No, I would never. I have responsibilities and stuff. I'm a father with kids and shit like that. My wife, if I told my wife I did that, even if it made 100K, I think she might slap me. Like, I'm not sure any reasonable person. That's too close to gambling. Swing trading is most definitely a form of gambling that I think I participate in when statistically odds feel they're in my favor. But at the end of the day, there's no guarantee, right? Could have gone back down to 57. Who knows? If Jay Powell said something nasty, this would have dropped. So the position size that I took for my dream was 3%. No, 2.5%, something like that. So I felt pretty comfortable with it. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was a good story. What's going on, Mark B? Yeah, you take it. Yeah, I don't know if I can do it, dude. I don't know if I can do it. A slap in the face. It's the problem is I'd probably slap myself. How bad would the slap be? It would be like the "How can she slap" meme. Does that still exist? Does everybody know what I'm talking about? I was about to bring it up, but I realized maybe I'll get banned for that on YouTube. I could talk about it, but I don't think I should watch it on the stream. He did a quick little 6% trade on it for the swing too. Nice. Not bad, not bad. But yeah, I don't know. My wife, when I told her this story, she laughed. She's like, you do have, for whatever reason, always have oddly vivid dreams. Like the details that I remember on dreams is way too much. And that one, when I woke up, I'm like, we got to do this. Well, if Robin was up already, I was not going to do it. It was only because it was down this morning. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. Okay. I didn't put all the bull plays together. Again, damn it. I keep doing that. There was one other bull play, and I tried to average down for the week and I sold this earlier in the week when we were low. This is the only position that I did it on, by the way. And this was, I thought, I don't want to use the word brilliant because that's very, that's not what I want to project myself as. But I was very happy with it. I was very smug with this trade because I know the arrogance is like leaking out. But it was a simple trade, and we had dropped pretty low. And $13, we were at $13.80, $13.90 when I sold this. And getting 50 cents was insane. Now, what I can't remember is I actually think this was for next week. That's why the premium was so high. I think it was an $8.29 trade. And today it was just like, we're buying that one back for more than 50%. And that's what I did. So Bull made a solid 3K. It outdid Reddit on a lower cost of capital, $3,000 on Bull shares alone, and it's translating into a play next week already at the money, being 1540 something right now. What was I know I'm going back to it. 1544. So that was a great set of trades. And sometimes this is, again, an example of I might be able to sell. If things go awry, I will resell this one for sure. I will happily buy Bull all day, 9,000 shares of Bull at $13 if that happens again. Guaranteed. That'll happen. I mean, I'll do that. Not guaranteed that it'll drop that far. But if it does, I'm in. Naked shares probably too. Very happy with that play. Ended up obviously not getting him. Probably could have held on to this for longer and sold it for even more profit, but whatever, it's good. Walking away with 3,000 shares for next week, and the cycle will continue with Bull. So that was all of the active trades made. We resulted in 13.5. Not all of them. There's actually a couple more to talk about. There were HIMS CCs we already talked about for next week, sold already. GME just continues to float out there. Lily continues to float out there. Also, it's been in the money since the day after I made the trade, and it's just never. I hope this one gets called away early just to free up the cash. I don't care if it doesn't. Honestly, it's a good result. I did sell strategy for what looked like a pretty good return, $12.75 on 365. Cost basis is actually 375, so it's really not that great because this is kind of expecting us to not get back there with this trade. It's a good hedge. But right now, after today's 6% increase from 330 back to 360 almost, I think we were at 360 at one point. I haven't brought strategy up yet today. What do we... I like looking at it on Google. It's a little bit clearer to get some quick stats here. We were up wildly at... peak was about 360. So just under 360. So it's a very good chance that I'm just going to be sitting in the money on this one for a couple of weeks. But that's okay. I don't mind too much. If we don't, it's going to look like genius, right? It'll be $2,400 for nothing. $2,500, I should say, for just waiting on shares for a month is pretty good. I'll take that. That's a pretty good return. The other thing that I did was DEC. DEC was a aggressive at the money, and I sold 105 below cost basis calls. People always ask, do you do this? The answer is sometimes. How does it feel when it goes against you? The answer is not that great. But DEC is one that I've rolled in the past, so that was my backup plan. If I let assignment happen, it would be a minus $5,000 hit across the life of all the trades that I've made on DEC. If this happens and I get assigned at 110 that I rolled out to for October, it's a positive trade for me. And I will let it get assigned at that point. Because shortly following this, our earnings for deck. So this is a way to basically, on the capital tied up, get another 5% return plus the premium difference, obviously, for a net $3,600 plus that $5K that I would have lost otherwise by not selling these, because it's a 1,000 share position. So what I'm saying is 110 minus 105 is 5, and 5 times 1,000 shares is $5,000. So on the capital, $5,000 plus this premium of $3,600 is an $8,600 return on 105K, which is why I made this trade versus taking a loss. A little bit head spinny when you talk about rolling, but that is the premise of what I did. I don't plan to roll it again because I got burned doing that this last earnings cycle and kind of wish I didn't. I don't even have it on my watch list because I hate this stock, yet I'm still in it for another 2 months. What is wrong with me? I was covered here, and this was a mistake. I honestly should have either left it uncovered or not rolled it in the way that I did, because I had an opportunity to get out in, I probably would have sold at 120, like a limit sell at 120, or if not lower, 118 or something. And that would have been a profitable end to the trade and the series. But on no other news, it just dropped all the way back down to 100. In fact, it dropped into the 90s at one point. And so I was like, screw it. I hate this stock. We're going to sell 105 calls repeatedly for like $1.50 each and keep lowering our cost basis. Well, that worked last week, but it didn't work this week. And we might be, I can't believe I'm going to do it. We might be doing this again. If I can find this stupid symbol, we might be making a cup. I don't know. It looks like it's certainly plausible. Maybe that's too far out. Something like that, right? Highly likely, in fact, as I look at this. Now, what'll happen out in October? I don't know. But ideally, it goes above and someone just calls it away and I'm done with this stock. That would be best case scenario. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here, but when these shares get called away for real, I am never touching this stock again because I just don't like it. I don't like the stock. But I will keep this cup here because this might happen. This looks like kind of legit. Sold 200 at 104 3 months ago and let it die. Yeah, I know. And I could have done that. Maybe I should have done that, but some sick part inside me keeps trying to make money out of this silly thing. It's all good. I continue to learn, like everybody. We all keep this. Always isn't it? Never-ending amount of stuff to learn. Lucid is in the toilet. I might buy this back and just leave it uncovered so the next time it inevitably spikes up to $3 because that's what Lucid does. Check it out. Look at the 1 year. We go 4, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. What do you think will happen next? I don't know. 3? So I might actually buy it back, get them uncovered, and just let them sit until it spikes to 3. Put a limit buyback or sell at 3, and never think about it again, because that's what Lucid does. Is it gonna die? They say that every time. It's at the same low that I bought it a while ago at here at 201. Like the day went below that, but we finished at 203. So this $2 support is very hard to find your way under for Lucid for whatever reason. I mean, it's not a great chart. It was purely only ever a swing play for me. So now that I'm thinking about it, I really should uncover the shares, which I could buy back at profit for sure. They're out till January. Ugh, that was a mistake. But like it genuinely every 2-3 months it spikes to 3. So I will literally just put in a good to close limit buy or sell. I sell because it's shares, naked shares. I just let them hopefully go at some point. And maybe I do it at 250. Just get out of it. It's not like I don't care about the position at all. It's not even a big percent. It's like $10,000, something like that. I don't know. I mean, like a percent. It's just nothing. So what is it at? Yeah, but that my cost basis is not really 3, but the last time I bought shares was at 3. So yeah, it'd be good to get out of it. And then I do have a TTD Leap open, which has been going plus or minus 10% since buying it, and I don't know what to do with it because I have ADHD or something. So every time I look at this, I'm like, I got to do something. I was like, no, I don't have to do anything. I'm supposed to wait a year apparently because that's what you do with Leaps. And I see why they're successful if you have any semblance of patience, which I don't. That's my problem. But so that's it. That's what I did last week. Next week, I think we've already talked about. I'm looking at HIMS again. I'm looking at Bull, ASTS, CoreWeave. Looking at Reddit, of course. Google again. I just keep playing the same stocks. I don't need to venture out too much. Archer. I'll look at Archer again. Somebody wanted me to look at BBAI. I have the most patience. Maybe it's all relative, right? Like you look at like a guy like Warren Buffett, and the guy will go literal decades in a position. You're like, okay, I don't have that level of patience. My level of patience is like on the 1 year time scale, maybe. Oh, UNH. I might get back into UNH too. I also next week, I'm wondering on Lilly and Lilly X. We've had a nice little comeback, and we've kind of run out of steam. It looks like we are finding a new spot to hang for a bit here. We're wedging up a little bit, not quite, but starting to wedge up. I think where are my fibs at? I think we might try to break into some of these upper fibs. I really want to wait till we're at this level, ideally. I don't know how long that's going to take. That could be a couple weeks based on what Lilly's done, or it could be the next earnings. It's hard to say. But I'm very confident in Lilly long term. Like, look at where we're hanging, what we're hanging against. This is historical. That's 6 months. Let's look at the year. Like, we're never down here. And we're down here on stupid news that isn't business impacting to this level. Like, this did not factor in the news. Like, this was not the only thing that we didn't rely on the news that caused this drop to be this big. That's a weird way to phrase things, I know. But this was like, oh, your weight loss drug is not as effective as we hoped, but it's still a pill and not an injectable, and it still works, and people will take it and people will buy it. I think it'll be fine, and I think they'll still make a absolute boatload of money off of this pill. So, ideally, this is where we test my patience and others, because I could sell right now at like a 25% profit on that LLYX, but I really think this can be a 50% profit play, if not more. You see how high we've been. There, in my mind, there's no reason we don't get back up into the 800s at some point. The question is just like, how long is it going to take? And I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I do keep waiting even longer. If we look at, what I'm actually talking about price-wise, Lilly X, we were in the upper teens and dropped as low as, I got it at 10, but we're back halfway to that 15 level already. We've been even higher. But historically, there's some spikes into the 20s. Part of me wants to be like, maybe I just set a limit sell at $20. Go for a one bagger. I don't know. When is the Fireball? Dude, I'm not drinking any. I'm taking a drinking hiatus indefinitely. It could be a week. It could be a year. I don't know. I like to make sure every once in a while, I'm Irish, so I got to double check that I didn't become an alcoholic unexpectedly or unknowingly. This is not to make light of anyone that has alcoholism. For sure, nothing like that. But when you drink regularly, at some point you're like, where do you cross the line and be like, oh, I didn't realize, but at some point I became an alcoholic. I'm not. I know I'm not. But I like to take breaks anyway to avoid that from ever being a possibility, ideally, because that's not a fun disease. I don't know how many diseases are fun, so I'm not sure why it needed to be qualified that way. But that happened. The last time we were in the 20s, by the way, was this year, 4 months ago. Can I wait a couple of months to get 100% return? Maybe. Full port LLY. Dude, that was a big position, actually. Like, I don't think people realize that was a pretty high conviction play between Lily and Lily X. I put a full 110, 120. Gosh, now I'm looking at it. I'm like, why didn't I double that? They should have doubled it. Hence the let it rip. This is probably the most positive I've been on anything since my Reddit plays at 40, 47. This and a lot shorter time frame for that matter. And meanwhile, you got freaking Bob Dog in the background. Bob being like, dude, Lily's going to drop to 520. I'm like, what are you talking about? Where are you getting this from? I swear you're just trying to make my head explode. I think he was looking at like the 5-year chart and was like, yeah, the next line of support is like 562 or something, one of these numbers. Or there's a gap somewhere down here that might need to be filled. I forget what he said exactly. We did fill a gap over here. Holy cow. I didn't realize that, actually. That's interesting. There's no other gaps that I'm aware of down further. But yeah, he was like, oh, maybe it was here. Maybe he was like, we're going to test the bottom of the 1618 at 510. I'm like, what? 510? Why you got to be like that, Bob Bear? Bob Bear, go back into hibernation, Bob Bear. And he did, because then, it was the 200 moving average. Yeah, that's what it was. So, thankfully, that does not appear to be in the cards right now. It could be. I hope not. And maybe I'm convincing myself that I should be selling this now, because that would suck, especially on the leverage fund. Gosh, yikes! But no, I think for sure we're definitely in a spot of finding some good support back up here, especially as we get back into this cloud. I'm on the wrong timeline for this, but as we get back into the cloud and all that fun stuff, what does the 6-month cloud look like? Oh, we're already above the 6-month. Never mind. That's right. So, yeah, anyway, I was happy with that one. I don't trust Bob, man. Can't. What's going on? Algonquin. I wanted to say Algonquin, like the Indians. Native American, sorry. I am so... Do you tell your kids crisscross applesauce, or did you learn to sit Indian style? Can you get canceled over saying Indian style? Like, I hope not. But it's so weird when I hear these things. I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. I don't know. I can't tell you what. I can't tell you how to sit. Just sit down, please. You're thinking of stumping bags and retails? Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's see. Bob Dog posted the headline about pausing the changes to the marketplace. Huh. Oh, maybe I missed that part. The Retetitride. Yeah. I did watch that, Justin. Justin, you were the one who sent that, right? That was it. That was interesting. It was a good one. Yet you might be able to play Lily X still. I think it's got more to run, but it's a risk. Like there's no guarantees in life, and you got to form your own conviction on it for sure. I'm messing with Bob. Bob is good. He's very accurate. I don't want to take anything away from him. September data determines if we're bear or not. Yeah, I mean, September is generally, historically, probabilistically bearish. But no guarantees always. Crisscross applesauce. Dude, I don't know. It was like some preschool teacher, and it made the national news on like Fox News or something in the early 2000s, and it must have just became a thing. I don't even know. Some silly rhyme. Okay. I think I'm done with my stuff. Somebody wanted a chart for BBAI with an arrow. I I already did this for someone. Sorry. Oh, it was a cup and handle though, like legit. Okay, well, what if we do this? Like, oh, but I'm sorry, I meant the bottom was here, not up there. There we go. Now it's a bigger cup and handle, right? Yeah, it'll surely go up. We'll make it even higher. Yes, perfect. That'll happen. I don't know, man. I will be honest. I didn't like BBAI after I got hosed with it down here for 6 months, or it felt like 6 months. I think it was only 3, but or 4. Maybe it was 4 months. I don't know. There's some people with some very high conviction on this stock on After Hour that I chatted with. That's what got me into it originally in the 4s, or down here in the 4s. 4s, 5s. It was 5s. It was right here. It was at 5. And it seemed like a great spot after we just chopped off the entirety of this mountain here. But then it wasn't for a long time, and we kept like inching up and like giving false hopes, and I learned I didn't like the stock that much. So I got out of it, and I don't personally plan to go back. There's like this hook that they're tied with Palantir somehow, and they're the Palantir of AI, or I don't remember, military AI Palantir, something like that. But yeah, I mean, if we delete stuff just to take a better look at it, we should look at it shorter term. I think that's a good point. Let's look at the 3-month, and it's we had a bull flag here for a minute after a drop, but like that's nothing. I don't know. Maybe we're finding support here at 525. Maybe we're consolidating a bit right now. For sure, it looks like. Definitely. I mean, that's definitely a thing. All right, we're trying to, like, I think you can make this line can come all the way down here. This is a legit consolidation happening, right? Where we go from here, I don't know. I'm not sold on them. I would be careful personally. If you have high conviction, that's fine. That's cool. What was the earnings? Yeah, it was a surprise minus. Oh, wait, they don't have revenue, right? Never mind. Oh, they do have revenue. But that's a big surprise down. What is the sell for being in it? It was a good run until it wasn't. I agree with that completely. And credit to Average Advisor for calling it out when it was in the $4 range here. Like, he called it here, by the way, like literally over here. And it ran from 4 to 8. Jeez, 100% return for anyone who hung out there. I got out at 5 happily, 5.15, I think. I made like $150 on it. I was like, I am never looking at this stock ever again, and no regrets. But I don't know. Maybe you've got a pull or a reason to invest in it. Gap to fill, maybe. Yeah, I mean there is a gap for sure, right? There's probably gaps down too. Like this was a gap that got filled recently. There's no more gaps down. I mean, I guess this is a gap here, maybe. You got it. Well, no, not on the hourly. That's the problem. I'm on the hourly. Let's look at the day. Any gaps on the day? So you got a gap to fill up, but I always feel like gaps to fill up are not really a thing. There is a gap here. I don't think we're going back down to 2.6. But I also don't know. I would not touch this stock with a 10-foot pole. It's all I can really say. Honestly. I don't like it. I don't like what I'm looking at. Honestly, I think this is a bear flag. Right? Like, bleh. Gross. Yuck. And then that happened. So whatever the hell this ends up being, it's not good. It's not good, man. I'm staying away from it. Apple shares. Gonna buy something. All right, let's look at Apple. Ooh, that's a bull flag. Ooh, look at that. That's cool. I haven't looked at the Apple chart in a long time. We are it's about year to date ish. I guess it's the 1 year if I do that. Oh, you want me to do it? I'm gonna do it. You know I'm gonna do it. Let's do it to here. What happens next? Can anyone guess? Looks like a little bit of a handle. Just gonna throw that out there. How far are we gonna go? I don't know, but you know what this means. Boing! Oh yeah, all day. We're going to 268, 270 apparently. You only get to draw it once. Once it happens, that's it. We're gonna hit new highs though, apparently, for sure. It's set in stone. The clairvoyance is coming out for sure on this one. I might sell calls on. I might buy leaps. I don't know, man. Let's see what the premiums look like. Definitely looks like a cup and handle though. Like not the cleanest one, but it's there. It's there. Cap tooth killers. I think it's plausible. We'll leave this on the chart as we do. We'll see if that turns into anything. Yeah, that's exactly what I like to do. So here's the cool thing about selling options. Because you sell options and try to get a premium, when the premium sucks, that's when you go like, oh, maybe I should buy them. And when you do, on a leap especially, I think that's where the reward comes in, right? That is essentially what Roaring Kitty did in GameStop. If you watch that, he basically, if you followed that live, if you look at like the option prices, it was insane. Let's see. Look at these. So when he bought them, what am I looking at? Call. Is he doing this on like E-Trade or some shit? What is this? It's probably like Schwab. I have no idea. $20 calls, $5. Oh, because he was posting. Hold on, let me see if I can find the early ones where he. Yeah, I upvoted him. I don't care. That's right. Where was okay? So April 6th. This was one of the originals, right? $12 call. He paid 31 cents for that. 31 cents. And the price, insane. Like, have you ever looked back at this? Oh, by the way, we're looking at a 10 million position. The one that I looked at just before was 28. What was it? 40 million? I don't even know. So 22 million here. Jeez, what a ridiculous run this was. My gosh, this guy is insane. 46. I think this was the peak. And, oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at this. Look at this. 20 cents he paid for some of these. And now they're worth, or then they were worth. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, it's disgusting. I think he walked away, by the way, with like $300 million. He came back with some post at some point. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that total. Insane. God. King of conviction. Have you ever looked at that? You should look through that. It's a worthwhile thing to look at. All right, let me catch up here. Bull leaps in the tens, $10 calls. Oh, wow. Did you keep them? Do you still have those? Or did you already sell them? Those would have been a good purchase for sure. Not quite as good as the GME level one where he bought 20-cent freaking contracts. Insanity. Yeah, awesome, dude. Cool. All right. Anyone else want to look at anything else, or is that good? Maybe that's it? Maybe we wrap up today for the show. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to talk through, but if there are, let me know. It was we just saw his balance was 210 million. This is a legit picture from him. So his exit was, yeah. I think someone figured out based on like order flow that he was likely at 300 to 350 million at the end of all this. Insanity. My favorite part is he had to go to court for this bullshit. Like, how nuts is that? Like, what were you trying to accomplish bringing the guy to court? Like, tell us how you've predicted the future perfectly so we can do it too. What was the purpose of that? Dude, 5 million GME shit. Oh my gosh. And okay. So the thing was this was at one point in the 30s. So yeah, if you do 30 on top of 20, 35 on top of 23, this is a bigger number, which makes this a bigger number. And I think the calls paid off too, for sure. So that's how they got to like the 350. This was before he sold, yeah. You want to watch the F1 movie? All right. Well, yeah, he did get fired. I bet he's real upset about that now, right? That's going to be it for me. I think there's a good spot to end looking at the freaking GameStop King, deep fucking value, Roaring Kitty. What a great name, by the way. The whole thing, it's a meme. It's a meme because he was like, you can scroll back so far and see him talking about this shit of like, get more people into it. Like, why are you not all buying this? He was trying to convince people. Oh my gosh, 5 years ago. 5 years ago. These don't work anymore, but crazy. Anyway. All right, cool. I'm going to stop streaming here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you got something out of it. I enjoyed it as always, and I will be sure to see you in the next one. So hope you all have a good Friday night and a good weekend. Again, we'll be back on Sunday night with Mr. Muffin Man himself in chat for the weekend preview, the bakery. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about Bull, Core Weave, maybe hymns. I'm not sure what else we'll talk about. Maybe UNH again. The agenda will be in Discord somewhere if you are interested in following along. So have a good weekend and see you then.